Hi everyone, I'm Megan back again. As you could see from earlier, we had a few connectivity issues, but we wanted to deliver on some of our promises. So you got to hear from David DeFazio, who's the founder of Wyoming Whiskey. And now we're going to walk you through a little bit of a tasting of Wyoming so you can kind of get the full experience as you're tasting these wonderful whiskeys. We're going to start with our small batch, which is our flagship bourbon. It is a traditional wheated bourbon, but it is from an untraditional place. So Wyoming, as we've talked about, is super unique to make a bourbon. They were the first in the state to make the bourbon. So there's a lot of unique qualities to this bourbon. We get our water from a limestone aquifer. That's water that's never seen the light of day. All of our grains are sourced locally within a few miles of the distillery itself within Wyoming. So it's truly a Wyoming whiskey. And our small batch is the just exemplary product of Wyoming. It's going to be a straight whiskey. It's aged for 5 years. It's 44% ABV. If you look it up, Wyoming is the 44th state that was admitted into the United States. So that's a little homage to that, to history. And then the mash bill is going to be 68% corn, 20% wheat. That's where we say it's a wheated bourbon, and then 12% malted barley. When you're tasting your whiskey, you're going to want to start from your eyes down, three-way palette. So we like to start from the top, work our way down. If you look at it in the light, always try to hold it up to the light if you can. It's a beautiful dark amber color that it comes out of. Add any coloring to this. So this is really the color that you get when it's coming out of the cask. And if you take it in on the nose, immediately to me, it's pretty floral. It's a little soft on the nose and in a good way because you don't want your nose to be overwhelmed with that alcohol scent, right? I pick up a little bit more of the sweeter notes. So some caramel, some vanilla bean, and again, that floral that we talked about. And then this is the good part. When you bring it to your palate, when you're taking in your whiskey, you really take the time, let it go down slowly, move it around your mouth, chew it a little bit, so you can really take up all those expressions. Another trick that I like to do is I like to warm my palate up with the first sip. Let the alcohol hit, get your tongue used to it, and then the second sip is where you're really gonna pick up all the characteristics. Looking for a light, smooth flavor profile, again, that floral that we talked about, but maybe a little bit more of a baking spice, a hint of allspice, vanilla cream, maybe a little bit of cinnamon and that caramel again coming through. So a little bit more expressive than it is on the nose. Really, really beautiful on the second sip. And it's got a great viscous, creamy mouthfeel to it too. That small batch. So next we're gonna go through Outryder. I'll walk you through this. I'm not going to take it because I've got to pace myself tonight. But as you heard David DeFazio say, in writing terms, horseman terms, if you will, the Outrider is the horseman who goes out on his own and tries to bring the cattle in. And that's really unique in its own right. And our Outrider is going to be unique itself. So it's right in the middle. It's on its own, and there's nothing else really like it. So you might have heard him say it's made from two different mash bills. That first mash bill is going to be 48% winter rye, 40% corn, and 12% barley. The second one is 68% corn, 20% rye, and 12% barley. And it's going to be a little bit more of a kick to it than our small batch. We upped the game a little bit in terms of ABV. ABV is 100 proof. So that's something really fun about Outryder. If you're a whiskey fanatic like me, we tend to love the Outryder. And if you hold it up to the light, you'll notice it's a beautiful bright amber color. And if you take it on your nose, I'll take the cork. A trick here too, if you open your mouth slightly while you're nosing this, it'll help your olfactory senses pick up some of these characteristics that we're talking about. So for me, this is a little bit spicier off the bat. You're gonna get some baking spices, some clove maybe, some allspice, and then some brown sugar, something that we get a lot with this one. And then if you take it in on the palate, Nice and slow, move it around your mouth. Maybe warm up your palate one more time because this is a little bit higher ABV that we're talking about. Again, you're gonna notice some of that clove, those baking spices, allspice, but something maybe that you didn't pick up on the nose, you might get a little bit of orange peel, which is always fun to have in a bourbon, a little bit of honey, and then it might finish with a little hint of vanilla bean, which is my personal favorite. So hope you enjoyed our Outryder. It's very special to us. And next, we're gonna move down to our cocktails. So first, I'm gonna start with a classic old fashioned. For me, to save some time, I put some brown sugar in here. So I like to break a brown sugar cube in half. I think it's a little bit more interesting than a regular sugar cube. And I personally don't like a lot of sugar in my drinks or my cocktails. I'm not much of a sweet tooth. So I break a sugar cube in half and put it in there because I really think that the whiskey in an old fashioned should speak for itself. Also, always stir an old fashioned when you're building it into a shaker because it's a really spirit forward drink as well as the next drink I'm gonna make. So there's really not any point in putting it in a shaker and shaking it like crazy. You're not doing it the spirits any justice. But for me, I'm gonna go ahead and use our single barrel. I'm gonna do a couple ounces. And then for me, I like it classic. A good old Angostura bitter for me, just 2 or 3 dashes. Gonna throw my sugar in there. If you have a muddler, it never hurts to muddle that sugar a little bit. I'm gonna throw some ice cubes in here too. I don't always, but nothing wrong with an ice cube in your bourbon in the middle of summer, right? The great thing about an old fashioned, it's super customizable because it really is only 4 ingredients. A lot of people have fun with it. There's a lot of different things you can do for an old fashioned. You can play with barrel aged bitters, you can do chocolate Aztec bitters. I love doing classes about just an old fashioned in general because it is so customizable to your own taste. I like it the classic way, but you know, if I am feeling maybe a little bit sweeter that night, I love to do a full brown sugar cube or some chocolate bitters in there. You can really play around with this one and make it your own. Cheers.